Hey, we're live, JJ.
Oh, hello. My hair is caught in my ear monitor.
It happens.
It does. I'm here though. I had an invitation to go see a play tonight and I declined. I had a week where I did not have barely anything on my calendar. And so I did a lot of work, but I enjoyed having the freedom of not a lot on my calendar, and I could not commit to doing something tonight. I have three theater kids I know in two different productions, and I'm not going to any.
Well, you couldn't have gone anyway.
Why not? Well,
We have to do this.
We would have done this like we did last time, a half hour earlier.
Oh, and then you would have left.
And then I would have left.
I got it. So we're going to let people file in,
Yeah.
and then we'll do the theme song.
Courtney is here.
Yay.
Yay. Oh my gosh. She's one of our Midwest Carnivore friends who we have met in person. And she tried to hook me up with a Midwest Carnivore WhatsApp circle. And it literally took me like a month for my WhatsApp to work, but it works now. And it just started spontaneously working again. It just locked me out and then started spontaneously working.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you got it working. Shelby, we see your questions. We'll get to you.
Yes.
If
We'll
you're
get started.
assuming you're still here. I mean, you got here early.
Yes.
We have just eaten a mildly not carnivore meal because of the inclusion of tomato
Yes.
sauce.
Yes.
But it was delicious.
We will get into that more in a little bit.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to have that every single day. Well, I would want to have that every single day, but I don't think we should.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And it's in Wisconsin, it's kind of wintry, cold, misty, last spurt of winter. And we're getting ready to warm up with some sunny, warm days. There was some snow, some rain. It was very fall-like today.
It was.
So,
But like a proper human, you got out into it.
I got out into it. I did a ruck this morning. I did 40 minutes, a couple miles with a 30-pound backpack on. And then I did another 40-minute walk with the dog this afternoon. So everybody stay with us. We're going to hit the theme song, and then we will be back with you to talk. The theme song might need to be rewound. We'll see what happens.
That's all they know. JJ and Eric, their lipids are high. Their doctors are worried they're both gonna die. Is LDL harmless? They sure hope it's so. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show. Salad is toxic, seed oils are doom. They rub on tallow like greasy perfume. Ribeyes and bacon, that's all they know. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show. No wheat, no kale, they're laughing at greens. 18-hour fasts are their favorite routines. Sugars for suckers, they're chomping on fat. Streaming to you live from the tallow vat. Eric's got muscles, JJ's got zen. They're coming to chat with their carnivore friends. So toss out the lettuce, embrace the beef glow. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show.
Oh,
We're back.
we're back. Well, a warm welcome to you all. I'm JJ. I'm a life coach. I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. JJ hit mute so she could cough earlier.
I did. I messed it up.
And the reason you had to cough was because of what we had for dinner.
It is. So we used to joke, we'll read those old-timey novels And way back when you were reading and you came across the word Qatar.
Yep.
Catarrah or something like that. Maybe 2 T's, maybe 2 R's. I don't know. But so that's been a joke with us ever since about a Qatar.
Yep. Having a catarrh in our throat.
And we used to have it after dinner or after our meals all the time. We'd have that sort of phlegmy, need to clear the throat thing, cough, and we don't get that so often anymore. But today I have it. And it's because we had my famous spaghetti for dinner. Now,
Hold on.
Yep. Yes, I'm well known for my spaghetti sauce. I developed a recipe for it when I was 12 years old, and it is good.
But it wasn't actually spaghetti noodles.
But it wasn't spaghetti noodles. Tonight, I made, for the first time ever, Courtney Luna's noodles that are made with cream cheese, pork panko, eggs, and I think that's it. Oh, gelatin.
I wasn't there.
Gelatin. I felt like something was with gelatin. And so I made those noodles, and they were so easy. It literally took maybe 10 minutes to mix it up and 10 minutes to cook it. It was awesomely easy. I love Chris Cooking Nashville, but his noodles have a lot of steps. And then
it had a meat sauce.
And then I made a meat sauce, lots of nice nutrient dense minced beef or ground beef. And the downside is it does have tomato sauce.
Yeah. And that's where the Qatar came.
And so I'm I got a little bit of post-dinner.
I'm eager to, in a couple of hours, do my post-prandial blood sugar and ketone test to see what happened. But my guess is not a whole lot.
We'll see.
You think more is going to happen?
I don't know. I mean, it is a tomato-heavy dish, but that's really, and herbs and spices. But there wasn't, I don't add sugar or anything like that.
So Natalie said she got an ad during the recipe. So for the noodles, it was egg, cream cheese, gelatin, and panko.
Pork panko.
It was a Courtney Luna recipe.
Yeah.
And it was good.
And yes, I was shocked at your reaction.
And it cooked on a flat sheet, and then you cut it into strips that look like noodles.
Yeah.
So that was good. And, not too much. I mean, there were some spices in it and stuff that were definitely not carnivore.
No.
We'll allow it occasionally.
Yeah.
So I want to go back up to the top because we have a question.
Absolutely.
So this is a two-parter. Shelby says, "Hey guys, I'm so excited to catch you live. Been keto 2.5 years. Listen, lost about 50 pounds. Want to lose 50 more. I'm dabbling in carnivore and keep stumbling because I don't know how much fat to eat. Don't know how much to eat, when to eat, how many meals, etc. Not sure why it's so confusing, but I know I'm done with the keto treats and want to simplify. Well, don't have the spaghetti we were just talking about.
No.
Please help. Appreciate you both. JJ?
Well, first I'm going to come at it a little bit from the life coaching point of view. And when I have a client who talks about confusion, I just like to bring up that's a normal fear response. If you think of the fear responses, fight, flight, and freeze, and fake or fawn, confusion sort of keeps us in that freeze mode. So I just want you to check that you're not allowing any confusion. It's normal, it's natural, but not allowing it to run things for you, not allowing it to stop you in your tracks from moving forward because you just don't know what to do. So keep moving forward, even if you're confused. That's what I want to say from the life coaching perspective. Just keep moving forward. Now, from the carnivore perspective, when I read your question, my thought was that you are coming from that keto background. And for me, keto was not sustainable because of counting all the macros and trying to figure out how much fat and enough fat and what is what. And so my recommendation right now for you is to not worry about the macros, to let the macros go for now and just focus on eating carnivore. You said you wanted to, your primary goal is to get rid of those keto sweets. So make that your primary goal and don't worry about the rest right now. Give yourself some time to adapt into carnivore and then you can start tweaking and playing things. So that's my thought on it. What is your thought, Eric?
My thought is if I had really thought about this question, I wouldn't have talked about the spaghetti we had. Because that's of course not recommended at all.
No.
But it's atypical for us as well. But I had made a request because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just do beef, bacon, butter, and eggs for a period of time and just make the adjustment. Allow the satiety signals to develop. Because if you've been having the carnivore treats or the keto treats, for me, the artificial sweeteners keep the sweetness monkey on my back. Mm-hmm. So a good stretch without those really helps drop that away. And then the natural satiety, for me anyway, was way easier to understand and detect. But it sounds like you're on a great track. I mean, you've already made huge progress.
So think of this as a reset right now and just focus on not doing the sweets. And yeah.
That's how I would
the primary focus.
And keep watching JJ and Eric Carnivore Show.
And let us know if you're still with us, if you have any follow-up questions or comments. I already greeted Courtney right before our theme song, so I just wanted to say, hey there again. So glad to see you.
I'm just looking through this long train of chats here. Lisa's asking about the spaghetti. Did the noodles taste eggy?
So I've been off wheat for almost 14 years. So I'm very forgiving in my idea of what a noodle is. But what do you think?
I ate one just by itself to see, and I didn't seem very eggy to me. So the answer is no. It tasted fine.
And
it didn't taste like a noodle.
No.
I don't know.
No, but for me, it provided a nice texture. It wasn't quite noodle, but a nice texture in the meat sauce. And yeah, I liked it better than those, I forgot, cognac noodles. I don't like those as well.
What are they? They're made out of what? Mushroom or something?
Yeah, some sort of I don't even remember, but we would do those when we were just trying to maintain lower carb, and this was much better to me.
Shelby anticipated us. Those recipes can cause problems. Copycats can be trouble. Best to keep it simple.
That's what you were talking about last week.
I was. And what did we do? We immediately made a copycat. Oh, well. What are you going to do?
You are right, though.
We are at our goal weight. Mm-hmm. And we've had a huge amount of healing. I would not allow a slippery slope to develop where this became the norm.
No.
But it'll be steaks and eggs and bacon, and I'll be happy with it.
Yeah.
Boyd says, I like the idea of your spaghetti as a smaller portion side with maybe a veal main dish.
That's very Italian. We went to Italy long, long ago, and we're shocked to see that their pastas are these little side dishes. That would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Without the tomatoey addition to it. Lisa does not like veal.
That reminds me, I was watching a Bella Steak and Butter Girl video this week, and she was saying that there's only one place she can get lamb that she likes. And even Bella does not like lamb because she says it's too gamey for her. And she says it's because of the aging.
I don't like lamb because it tastes like it tastes like hoof juice. So I will not be eating lamb no matter where it's from. So, okay. I have presentation materials to share with these people.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I'm going to try not to bore you. I'm going to keep it high level, and I'm not going to take a long time on it. But if you're just listening, you may want to actually find a screen to look at what we're going to show.
So why did you want to set this up about why you have an interest in this topic?
No, because I'm not going to get to that topic at first.
All right. Never mind.
Our last video that came out Tuesday is about carnivore and digestion. Carnivore is easy on the gut. I think the title is, holy crap, carnivore is good for the digestion. I tried like 3 different titles and 4 different thumbnails, and the video just never took off. But it's really good. It's us talking about bathroom habits with uncarnivore. So who wouldn't want to watch that? So tomorrow at lunch, tune in and watch this one because it's very good. I think. Let me see here. How do I got to control this. So we had a comment. I had put a poll up asking if people changed their doctor based upon their apparent health. And then a couple of people commented that my doctor retired. He was about 15 years younger than me by my estimation and a good 100 pounds overweight. In the last 5 years, I have managed to lose 50 pounds while adding considerable muscle and reverse 2 serious diseases. I so wished he would just ask me how I did, but he never did. And then True Blue said, my doctor looks like he has 1 foot on a banana peel and the other firmly planted in the grave. He's older and has had both hips replaced. Aww. He told me to eat off smaller plates. Well, how many times have we heard that?
Well, we did it for decades.
Yeah. Sir, T-bone steak doesn't fit on a small plate.
When we moved, we got larger plates because they don't fit. Yeah. Yep.
He also told me he wished I had diabetes so he could prescribe me Ozempic.
What?
That's what. Here I am 5 months later and 30 pounds lighter and restoring my health through carnivore eating and intermittent fasting.
Oh my gosh, that is so weird.
That is a funny story. But I was curious about the poll because I was like, well, if you're carnivore and now you're going to your doctor and they're very unhealthy, does that affect whether you trust them or have a good relationship? And the answers were all over the place. Mm-hmm. And some of the answers were, I just quit going to the doctor. That was fun. So how many of you have heard of the Lionel Sanders, who was in the news this week? Pro triathlon superstar reveals, I don't want to die young of diabetes, and I'm headed that way now. It's this guy here, very fit. Triathlon is, a marathon of running, like 150 miles of biking and a 2-mile swim or something. I don't remember the exact numbers. It burns a lot of energy and it takes all day.
Yeah.
And he wasn't feeling well. And in the article, it says that for the most part, everything in his blood looked decent, except his A1C was 5.9, which is pre-diabetic. 6.4 is the threshold to being diabetic. It was surprising and something serious because diabetes is not a disease you want to mess around with. Well,
I like
obviously
that he knows
not.
that.
Yeah. But apparently, leading up to this, he really just hadn't had much blood work done. And he just assumed because he was a super fit athlete, that shouldn't be a problem. But then it says he had been showing symptoms. It would not be uncommon for me to pee 8 times in 8 hours of sleep, which means I'm not sleeping.
Wow.
We're talking about having little sleeps of 45 minutes and eating candy and sugar in the middle of the night while having intense cravings. Sleeping absolutely horrible when I do sleep. And I'm like 14 straight years of horrible sleep.
Wow.
I put on a glucose monitor and it was accurate. My A1C was accurate. I wore the monitor for 10 days, even after making some dietary changes. My 24-hour average was around 123 milligrams per deciliter, which is in the pre-diabetic range. I frankly could barely believe my eyes when I saw this story. But then elsewhere in the article, he talks about the fact that he just ate whatever he wanted his whole career. I always thought this elite athlete would have his diet like so dialed in. It would be salmon and rice and broccoli and lean meats and, tons and tons of performance drinks. And it just turns out he just didn't cook. He just used DoorDash and ate tons of candy constantly. Because he thought, well, I'm just burning all this energy anyway.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that you keep putting that in there and you keep that blood sugar high, the insulin keeps being high, and eventually the sensitivity goes way down.
Well, you think about, we're really trained on calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
That is the basis of everything. So yes, we sort of know about junk food, but yet it was still calories in, calories out.
Yeah. So it should, from that perspective, it shouldn't matter whether
From that perspective, he's fine.
So just, I don't know. It was interesting to me. All right, moving on. So what I wanted to talk about was on Twitter or X, I follow a lot of the kind of low carb people, but also inevitably there's individuals who drop certain studies to try to confront and flummox the low carb community that show, for instance, that LDL is very dangerous. And I came across one. I'm like, oh, I've seen this before, and I don't know what the answer to it is. And I did a little more research in it. We're not going to go deep on it, but I just wanted to show it because it's interesting. So there's this paper gets thrown around a lot, and it's the European Atherosclerosis Society Consensus Panel. That's a mouthful. And their paper is Low Density Lipoproteins, LDL, Cause Atherosclerotic Cardiovascular Disease. Evidence from genetic, epidemiologic, and clinical studies. A consensus statement.
Okay, so already they have atherosclerosis in their name.
Yes.
So you assume that they're the experts.
Yeah, they're concerned.
And and this headline here says genetic, epidemiologic, and clinical. So they're coming at it from all different angles.
And we're going to see that in a second.
Okay.
But they're unequivocal. LDL causes atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear. Bunch of authors. Really, some of these are just extremely famous in this field. And this is the chart that gets thrown up on X many, many times, anytime the LDL question comes up. And this chart shows every little square is a study.
Okay.
The ones that are in the blue line, these are Mendelian randomization studies. On the gray line, those are so-called prospective cohort studies. Those are epidemiological studies. Those are probably food surveys.
And that's what epidemiological means.
And then the red line are randomized control trials, which would be the gold standard. And these are, I think most of these are actually RCTs of statins. So understand that. So the axes on this are a little weird. Across the bottom, you have the magnitude of exposure to lower LDL. So as you go to the right, LDL is lower.
Lower. Okay.
So this isn't the actual measure of LDL. It's the magnitude of exposure.
Okay.
And I guess magnitude is relative to each study. And on the left, the y-axis is the proportional reduction in risk of coronary heart disease. And 10%, 20, it goes up to 80%. So the higher you're on the y-axis, the greater the risk reduction is. So it's a really wackadoo structure for a chart. Mm-hmm. And they're taking these three different types of studies and they're plotting them and they're showing there's this linear relationship that the greater your lower exposure is, or the lower your exposure is, the greater your risk reduction. So let me say that again.
Okay.
The lower your exposure, i.e. lower LDL for longer, the greater your risk reduction. Okay, that's what this says. Now, is it true? That was my big question, because it looks like there's a lot of studies and, they kind of look like the trend lines are fair, based upon where things are plotted. So I was like, what do I make of this? So I immediately said, well, let me find people who have refuted this. And to my surprise, there actually are refutations of this. And we're going to discuss those very briefly. So this group did a critical review of the consensus statement from the European Atherosclerosis Society consensus panel. So that was really nice to find, because I was worried that nobody had bothered. And I did wade through a lot of this paper, but it got pretty technical pretty fast. But I just want to highlight a couple of things. The key messages. Apart from the EAS hypothesis that LDL causes ASCVD, recent pharmacological and biochemical studies, as summarized in this review and elsewhere, have revealed that atherosclerosis is caused by statins taken to lower LDL-C, as well as by warfarin and some types of vegetable fats and oils, in the absence of significantly elevated LDL-C levels. Thus, the promotion of statin treatment by this statement is rather risky, and we do not feel that the conclusions are justified for the preventions of coronary vascular disease, or whatever it's called. So this is a little bit nuanced statement, but what it's saying is that the chart is misleading, because there are studies that actually show that statins have increased atherosclerosis. So your argument that a greater exposure reduces the risk of atherosclerosis is contradicted. Next statement. This is elsewhere in the paper. As pointed out previously, the apparent effectiveness of statins for the preventions of ASCVD, as reported in the literature, changed drastically after new clinical trial regulations came into effect in 2004 and 2005 in the EU and US. After this point, no significant beneficial effects of statins for lowering objective endpoints have been reported. So this one was pretty interesting to me, because what this says is that prior to 2004 and 2005, they were able to hide the negative studies. They were able to obfuscate some of the data. And after that, every new study that came out that looked at statins found far less effectiveness. Pretty interesting, huh? Mm-hmm. Then I found this paper, LDL-C does not cause cardiovascular disease, a comprehensive review of the current literature. And in it, they specifically cite this EAS consensus that, and they make an effort to refute. And in their abstract, it was a much more readable paper, but I'm not going to go into more detail than this. Our search for falsification of the cholesterol hypothesis confirms that it is unable to satisfy any of the Bradford-Hill criteria for causality, and that the conclusions of the authors of the three reviews, one of them is the one I've been talking about, are based on misleading statistics, exclusion of unsuccessful trials, and by ignoring numerous contradictory observations. So basically what he said is they're cherry picking data to fit their models. So go ahead.
Oh, in the vein of Ansel Keys.
Yes. So just to touch in on Bradford-Hill, just so you know, the criteria were a set of guidelines for establishing a causal relationship between two variables. They were proposed by epidemiologist Sir Austin Bradford-Hill in 1965. And here are the criteria. I'm not going to go through all of it. Strength of association, consistency, temporality. That one's good. The cause produces the effect rather than the other way around. Specificity, biological gradient. So this is about dose response. So very high LDL should have very quick and rapid disease. Low should have slow progression. Plausibility, coherence, blah, 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 blah. And of course, we've all heard, if we're in the carnivore circles and low carb circles, we're like, but what about the J curve? What about the evidence that shows that past the age 50, higher cholesterol seems to have lower mortality? Those papers don't address those things other than to say, well, they have a theory that maybe the low end of the cholesterol for elderly people is because they're actively sick with something else. But none of that's particularly compelling or convincing, as I would say. So anyway, I want to stop there before we get too deep and everybody abandons us, because we don't typically go into this kind of detail. But I see that stupid chart. I'm going to go back to it. I see this stupid chart once every 2 weeks thrown up in some Twitter argument, and nobody really has a good answer for it. And it turns out that this axis over here, this y-axis over here with these percentages, is a very, very tortured axis in order to make these lines look as steep as they look. So let me just stop. Just stop, Eric. Stop and shut up. Am I shutting up? Let's go to the chat. I worked up a sweat. I got all worked up, JJ.
You do that sometimes. But this is, I mean, this is one of the arguments we get frequently. And I mean, it's something that you have had issues with for a long time, of doctors telling you your LDL was out of whack.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that was when my LDL was 130, 140.
Yeah.
And of course, anytime I went keto, it just went skyrocketed.
Yeah.
I don't worry about my LDL. I worry about my triglycerides. By the way, I got a great comment about that from someone from Germany.
Oh, yes.
Oh, keto. I can't remember what the name was. Very nuanced, and it sounds like kind of put me on the right trail for what they're doing. And I'll talk about that later. Not today, but at some other time.
Yeah, that was an excellent response.
Keisha says, 2 years carnivore, I started feeling heavy and low energy. Felt my food was not digesting, so started taking HCl with each meal. Fixed it. Pooping easily, no nausea. Why do I not make enough acid? That is pure speculation on my part. I wouldn't have a clue.
I love that you did add the HCl, though, and it sounds like it's working well. Strange that it's so late into the journey, but what I have realized, because we're 2+ years in as well, is that things do change. It feels like, all right, we're dialed in, the diet's easy, or we're dialed in, I've lost the weight, or whatever your goal is, or things just got simple, and it's like we expect that that's just going to be how it is for the rest of our lives. And yet things shift and change.
They sure do.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of adjustment as we go on.
Shelby asks, should I start 18-6 fasting or just eat whenever? I don't want to eat too much either because I really want to lose more weight and still healing other things.
So if you are coming from not doing any intermittent fasting at all, I would start with, don't go too deep down the rabbit hole, right? Mostly focus on that one sort of non-negotiable of the keto sweets. But if you are coming in, I would start with the 12-8. No, what is it? 14-8. 14-8. Start there and then work your way down to the 16-6, 18-6. Good. It's been a lot of time at the computer this week. The brain is not working. No. I keep hearing, even more recently, that the 18-6 is a sweet spot. You do get more benefits if you hit that 6 mark. It's what I did for years and was able to settle happily in there until more recently. So I think that is a good goal to get to, but don't rip off the Band-Aid. Just take it easy if you haven't done IF before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would, my 2 cents, I would try to put the eating window earlier in the day
Yes.
to stop eating long before bedtime for better sleep.
Yeah. That makes a difference for him.
Shelby also says, you two are hilarious and fun to watch.
Thank you.
I love that. Lisa says, when people order veal or lamb at work, I'll say 1 pound of hoof juice coming up. Kind of a jerk, but no one has commented on it yet.
Oh,
That's
I love
funny.
that.
That is
That
great.
makes me so happy.
I've been trying to get it down, but it tastes like the ground hoof juice. Oh, it's no use. Lamb of every style is nothing but vile. It's the truth. Oh, I can't stand that hoof juice.
I love our theme song. The theme song is up there with this one. This song is my favorite. It really sticks with me.
Courtney says, when I was 14 years old, I had an obese doctor give me a pamphlet. Did it say a smaller plate?
Here's what
here
it
is.
said.
Eat 1,200 calories a
my
day.
Gosh. I watch some, I'm not even going to say what industry they're in. I watch some vloggers I enjoy very much. And one of them has extremely gone calorie restriction. He's a big guy. He had weight to lose, but I mean big, like he's 6'3" or something. He's a big guy and he's doing severe calorie restriction and he's lost a lot of weight. And I'm just like, I'm waiting for the crash,
The bounce back.
because I can't remember. It wasn't 1,200, but it was like 1,500 or something, like a ridiculous amount of calories for this tall man. Oh, yeah.
We've been there and done that.
Yeah, we have.
And eventually something breaks and then you just eat and eat.
Yeah. The body is starving. As Dr. Kiltz would say, what else?
Yeah.
What else is it supposed to do? It's doing what the body does.
Simpsons in, taking a break from planting indoors since it's snowing in Iowa. Yeah.
Yes.
Little band of snow coming through.
Beautiful weather on the horizon, though.
Boyd was saying, interested in Noah's fasting insulin. This is the triathlete.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And the C-peptide, yeah. Carnivore Chans is in the house.
Hello.
Hi, Carnivore Chans. I feel so good on 18.6, but I've been here for a while now.
Yeah.
Hey, Darth for Carnivore's here.
Hey.
No hoof juice cleansing for me.
I heard your name come across another video, and I was thinking of you, so it's good to see you here.
Yeah. We were watching Dr. Kiltz, one of his lives, replays. We don't watch his lives because they're way early in the morning, right?
Very often, yes.
And we saw some familiar faces pop up. That was fun.
I wanted to go back to the 18.6 for a moment because I did that for an extremely long time. As a matter of fact, my IF anniversary is this month of 3 years, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not quite at a 6 now. I'm a little more at an 8. And I feel like it's because I have gotten down to my goal weight and I just need a little bit of a larger window. But I still like to be done early in the day. And I still want to maintain that clean fast through my fasting time.
So I think I'm going to talk about this now.
What?
Well, I had a consultation with
Oh.
Dr. Ovadia.
Okay.
And one of the subjects of the conversation was my weird triglycerides.
Okay.
And no, it was not recorded. It will not be on our channel.
No, it was not that.
And what was interesting was he was like, because I was doing the eating window, kind of eating between 8 and 4. And he said that he had seen this a few times in his practice. And he was sort of puzzled about it. And he puzzed to tell this high triglycerides with really good insulin sensitivity.
Okay.
My insulin was below the detection threshold of the Quest test that I had done. So it was below 3. My insulin sensitivity score was an 8. The low threshold is 33. My C-peptide was like 1.125 or something like that. He's like, you have excellent, amazing insulin sensitivity. So it's not insulin resistance and excess carbs causing the triglycerides to be high. He says, so then we got to think about what other things could be happening here. And I had been doing a higher fat version of carnivore for a while. And he's like, I think you just have excess intake and I was still losing a little bit of weight doing that. He's like, I want you to do 3 meals. Forget about your eating window. Just do 3 meals. And this aligned exactly with what our German friend said had worked for them. Had taken trigs from like 150 to 52. And so a lot of little connections are happening in my mind. So really excited to keep going down this path and seeing what happens.
So for you, that shorter eating window, you were an anomaly.
I was a bit of an anomaly, and it just might have been too strong a medicine for the way that my liver is working right now.
Interesting.
So we shall see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Burns Aquatics. I'm just curious. Do you guys swallow steak gristle or spit it out? Thanks for the stream.
So I used to just get rid of it until I went carnivore and heard about like all the benefits. And now it depends. I do eat a lot more gristle and a lot more like when we do have chicken wings. I didn't used to eat the little knobby ends, and now I try to eat most of them. But sometimes I just can't get it down and it's got to come out. If it's too chewy, not going to happen.
My rule is if I can chew it, I swallow it.
Yeah.
And most of the steaks I make, but sometimes you'll get a piece where it's like, it's not worth the effort. And the dog is fine with it. He'll eat it instantly because he doesn't chew it. Yeah, there's some collagen and stuff in there.
Yeah. So I didn't used to, but now I'm much more likely to.
All right. I'm seeing a pretty big one here.
Yeah.
Darth Carnivore, I'm officially down 200 pounds. That is amazing. Congratulations.
Huge congrats.
We interviewed Darth Carnivore on our channel. Charlie, go find that video and watch it. His story is incredible. Mm-hmm. His progress is incredible. And super inspiring.
Yeah.
And we've seen him in person.
Yeah.
And he de-aged incredibly from his before pictures to the present day. Mm-hmm. So a lot to be proud of there.
So excited for
yeah.
you.
Oh, let's see. Dr. Kiltz did an afternoon live with Anita. That's the one we watched.
Yes. Again, the recording though.
Yeah,
even though it was during the day.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah. Loved it.
Oh, Carnivore Chan says, we're almost at 30 in this live. Please go and like this live to push us into the community. Yes, thank you so much, Chans.
Thank you.
Thanks for the always cheerleading us. Go to Carnivore Chan's channel and subscribe if you haven't already. Very inspiring. Looking for more updates from you, Carnivore Chans.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother, the Tactical Carnivore, is also doing some occasional videos, and that's been pretty interesting to watch as well.
So I've got a couple notes about my personal life here as a carnivore.
Okay.
And one of them is around some friends of mine. I've entered this new phase. So I feel like when I first came out of the carnivore closet, people were incredulous and just really, wow, okay. And now that that's been a while, it's been about a year, I'm seeing a new phase that my friends are entering into. And they're kind of like, well, since you're interested in health, I'm going to send you this podcast or this article or this advertisement for a supplement. And I feel like they want my feedback on it. Like they want to help me to a certain degree, but they also kind of want my feedback. And the funny thing is, unless they ask for it directly feedback. I'm not going to give it. But I see these supplements and these different plans and all this stuff, and I'm like, just eat the meat. Now, I'm not saying that, but in my mind, it's just interesting. I feel like they're on this quest to improve their health without taking the step of carnivore. And they kind of want my permission to be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. You do that. Yeah, do that supplement, have that, do that health plan or whatever. And I'm like, you just need to eat the meat. Don't worry about all the stuff that you're chasing after and just eat the meat. I don't know. It's been just interesting to me. I keep getting these random little articles and podcasts sent to me about menopause or whatever, just all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I've got a solution for you.
But it's understandable. The pre-carnivore mindset, it takes, we've been doing this for 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. The pre-carnivore mindset it's very much, we read the news or hear a podcast about some aspect of health, and someone will advocate for a certain supplement to address the problem. So it's very much a medicate a problem model.
Yes, that's it.
And it's not their fault. It's just how we've been since we were little kids. You get a cut, you put some antiseptic on it and a Band-Aid. If I got some sort of a cold, my mom gave me red medicine.
She did call it that, yeah.
And it was some sort of antibiotic that was flavored with sugar that she would get from the doctor. And I would just take a spoon of that occasionally. I think it had some aspirin in it. And so it's just indoctrinated. If something's wrong, there's something you add to the system, and then that helps fix what's wrong. But once you flip into the carnivore perspective and you understand that it's all a metabolic problem because of constant inflow of carbohydrates and weird oils and food additives and stuff, that what the body needs is you to stop adding things, exogenous things, and just give it the nutrition that it needs, and stop the inflammatory additions, and then use time to let the body heal and process and achieve a new homeostasis where everything kind of settles out. And it's not that there can't continue to be some deficiencies that supplements can help with. It's that the first line of attack or defense is not the supplement. It's the diet.
Yeah. And
they're coming to you going, oh, JJ's very healthy. Let me see how this sounds to her.
Let me bounce this off her.
And they don't want to hear it. Well, you could try that, but it's like, a pint of blueberries every single day is not going to prevent Alzheimer's. But people think that it will.
Not recently, but I literally have a friend who was doing that. Yeah. Yeah. She might still be doing it, but.
And what's going to do it is don't eat all the carbs. Don't eat the bread. Don't eat the rice. Don't eat the potatoes. Don't eat the cake. Don't eat the ice cream. And sure, you can have a handful of berries, but the berries aren't going to save you if you're eating all of those things. No. And your insulin is high and your blood sugar is high. But nobody knows how that all works. And their doctor doesn't either.
No.
I'm getting hot again.
You know what you said? The berries aren't going to save you. I want a song. The berries aren't going to save you.
Well, the Dr. Berry might help be part of it.
Well, that's true. That type of berry might. That type of berry.
Dr. Berry, not blueberries.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my gosh. But you've been talking about that a lot lately. I mean, I didn't bring this to you. I've sort of mentioned it around the periphery about these friends who are sending me this stuff. But you've been talking about this sort of first principle type thing a lot lately.
Yeah.
And how your whole perception has shifted around this.
It's the only way I think about anything now is what were the evolutionary exposures that gave rise to the species? And coffee wasn't one of them, but I'm making an exception. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's see. People congratulating Charlie, which is
Yes.
spitters are quitters. You've got to eat the gristle. Do I need to make a song, Eat the Gristle?
Maybe.
I had a partial one that was Eat the Fat.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Jan says, that's happening to me as well, JJ. My family is jumping on board.
That is good.
Steakman, Alan, 3 pounds of meat and no salad today because why?
Salad is toxic, let me hear you say. Forget the greens, live another day.
Salad is toxic.
Oh, I was just thinking about you, Alan. I was just thinking about you. Before confession time, everyone's heard this, but maybe you haven't. We had tomato sauce for dinner tonight. Yeah. And then I did not have I have still not many salads, but I had something else this week. I had coleslaw. I think I mentioned last time I've been craving coleslaw. I bought some sauerkraut, had that little jar because I thought maybe my body was wanting that because coleslaw is a weird thing to crave. But we were out. There was coleslaw. I ordered it.
It was no go.
Coleslaw is toxic for sure. Coleslaw was not good. But I was thinking of you, Alan, because I was like, I need Alan back on my shoulder because now I've had 2 vegetables this week.
Oh my.
I had coleslaw and I had tomato.
It's like you never learn.
Oh, gee. Yeah.
That's so fun.
No, coleslaw I learned. Oh boy, did I learn. I'm good.
Darth Carnivore says, sometimes living examples of health and vitality shine an honest mirror back at others' eating habits, forcing them to self-reflect. This reminds me, this is actually correct. And how we approach trying to communicate this way of eating to people around us, because we do not force this on them. It's just show up healthy and make them ask questions. And they do. But remember when we would go out to eat back in the old days and I would get some sort of extremely carby, decadent entree and you'd get the dinner salad?
Yep. Yeah.
And we had an in-joke for decades. Well, not decades, a couple decades. I called it her judgmental salad.
Yes.
That I would be eating something delicious like spaghetti and bread and she'd be having a little dinner salad. And I was like, that's a judgmental salad.
That's what he would tell me. But the truth was, I liked salads. Like, it wasn't a judgmental salad. I just really liked salads. Now, as I've said before, I get my Salad Jones hit. I don't know if that's right phrasing. But anyway, I have that Courtney Luna salad where bacon is in place of the lettuce, and that scratches that itch very well for me.
I haven't had that yet, but
I don't think you're going to be that interested in it. You learned to like salads.
What I love right now, I love my breakfast however I have it. Either it's bacon and eggs, mostly yolks, but man, a runny egg yolk with steak is just unbelievable, especially if I cook the steak just right. But runny yolks can cure a lot of wrongs with a steak as well, because you get a creamy textury sauce that goes with it that can kind of help. And it is such a power move because when I eat that combo, it's like, it's like when Popeye would suck the spinach through his pipe and then his muscle bicep would get big. It's like my whole body is like filled with like the power of the universe, just
radiant
streaming
vitality
through me. My
that?
eyes turn to lasers, and I'm like, "All right, I'm ready." and then I just sit down and doom scroll on Twitter.
Oh,
but I'm good at it, and my anger is really focused.
look, we're over at 32.
Hey, we hit it.
We hit it. Yay.
We made it thanks to Carnivore Chans. Let's see. Lisa says, I love you guys so much.
I think that was after the berry, the whole berry thing.
Well, thank you, Lisa. We love you
Yes.
too. There's a conversation here, but I'm going to read it.
Yay.
Just checked out your channel, Carnivore Chans, and looking forward to seeing your journey. I am now subscribed. That's what I like to see.
Yes.
The community grows, the circle gets bigger, people heal.
Courtney.
Coleslaw and tomatoes, basically a vegan.
Basically.
funny.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you remember I created that T-shirt? I never did anything with it, but it was a picture of a cow.
Oh, yeah.
And it said, "Eat your vegetarians." And I was like, I think it's funny, but I'm not sure if it's funny. So I just kind of set that project aside.
That reminds me. So on Sundays at my theater group, I generally wear a theater t-shirt, right? Rah, rah team. And I'm not a big t-shirt wearer, like with logos and things on it anyway, but I do it for that. And then as I've shared here, this year I got the Healing Humanity t-shirt and I got my meat-based t-shirt because I actually want to be able to wear them in case anyone wants to ask questions. And so anyway, Tuesday, it's not theater t-shirt night for me, but I actually wore my meat-based t-shirt to my theater class or my theater group. I did not get any questions, but I thought I'd just
Probably some raised eyebrows.
dip my toe into that.
Yep. First off, sinner. Second, I'm making Ketovore ice cream at work tomorrow for my comfort workers. What is this? Coworkers.
Coworkers. Yes, there it is. Just scroll down.
I was a little worried there for a second about the comforter workers. I was like, I'm not sure this is legal. But Ketovore ice cream is definitely more healthy than just straight Haagen-Dazs, right?
Yeah.
So I was interested though in that that interview with Kiltson Ketovore woman. Was that her name? Ketogenic woman.
Yes.
She was saying that when she makes that ice cream, she does not put sweetener in it at all.
No.
And it tastes sweet to her because the dairy in there is just enough for the very refined taste buds of a carnivore to detect. And you do detect a lot when you stop adding flavors to things. People want to add stuff to get healthy instead of subtracting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We want a pill, not eating something. Popeye was oxalate dumping through his forearms. Oh, I got a little headache there. A little laughing headache. Oh. This happens when you don't have any hair.
It does?
Yeah, because the hair roots stabilize the scalp. And it's like a slope, a slope with rain. If there's no plant life there, you get a lot of erosion. Mm-hmm. Well, the hair helps the scalp kind of stay in place so that when you laugh, you don't get that spasm muscle at the top of your head. And so it's dangerous being bald and laughing. Now that's science.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Popeye. I remember as a little kid thinking like, I really wanted to be strong like Popeye. Mm-hmm. But I didn't even know what spinach was because I'd only ever seen cartoon spinach because my mom hated it and she would never make it for herself, much less her kids.
Well, this gets me on, I was going to say soapbox, but it's not a soapbox really. I just remember to being a kid in small town Wisconsin growing up, and the lettuce we had in our supermarket was iceberg lettuce. And you only had apples at apple season, and it was like a Macintosh, a golden delicious
Red Delicious.
Red Delicious. And that
Granny
was
Smith.
about it. That was about it. So now we have all these varieties. And of course, we're able to ship things around the world. And we have tropical fruits every year and 20 different types of toxic salad leaves. And when we were growing up, your mom didn't like spinach and she didn't buy spinach because there was no fresh spinach back then. You had to buy the slimy canned.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure it was in our frozen food sections.
No, it was canned.
It was canned. So it's just interesting to me that part of our enhanced civilization where we have all this variety of produce might also be a huge part of the issue, obviously. Because when it was iceberg lettuce and we weren't told to eat salads all the time, how many salads did we have? I mean, we'd go to the Italian place, they'd have a salad.
The irony is that the iceberg lettuce
Yeah.
probably had less toxins in
Right.
it than the romaine and all the other dark greens that we've been
Right.
eating. But I'm still stuck on the Popeye oxalate thing. I'm like, my mind's going down this whole storyline, all of this lore. I'm like, maybe it, when it went through his pipe, he filtered the oxalates out with the tobacco ash. Carnivore Chan says, Eric, stop. Now I want eggs. You want eggs on a steak. Lisa's also a sinner. I made horseradish sauce for my steaks this week.
Yeah. As you can see, we are not the carnivore police. However, this also brings me back to Kelly Hogan's video this week. Was a mishmash of different topics, but one of them was consistency.
Yeah.
Where she had a client come to her, a client who keeps falling off the carnivore wagon and now needs to lose 70 pounds or 30 pounds in 70 days, I think it was. And she's like, I don't really have advice for her. What she needs to do is stop falling off the wagon and just be consistent. And I think that's what's been the story for us is the consistency, not perfection, but consistency.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know what to do in a case like that. Because if you have success, you fall off the wagon and gain it back. For me, it's hard to understand how you wouldn't have other issues coming back that you had resolved, quality of life issues. That would just be sort of a backstop, because we often say carnivore self-correcting, because once you have healing, you don't want to lose that healing because you remember what it's like.
Right.
So that just seems like a case of maybe the suffering for whatever reason isn't enough to hold firm.
It's like, am I going to have coleslaw again? I don't think so. No.
Lisa says nobody's trying to eat unsweetened ice cream. I'm just reporting what I heard. And Bella would have unsweetened fake ice cream.
Yes. it's too sweet.
I feel like a sinner also, since I was planting a lot of tomatoes and peppers today. I started a lot of plants for friends and family, and my husband still eats veggies.
That was a thing for me. Not so much the year before, but last summer, I was like, I don't think I'm going to plant any vegetables this year. And I didn't at all. And I'm not judging, but it's so strange to not have that garden.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. And again, seasonally, a little bit of tomato, a little bit of cucumber wouldn't probably be too bad. Now, one thing I do seasonally, now that we have this property, is I will be having some berries when they're in season.
They grow wild.
We have wild strawberries and we have wild blackberries, and I will be eating them, but in measured doses, because if I eat too much, I don't feel good. And it's hard to eat a lot anyway, because you got to pick them.
And they come at a cost because the canes are thorned. And so you get all torn up trying to pick them.
Yeah.
A lot of people confessing their carnivore sins today. Only 27 people
Now we're
watching. It's
down.
crazy. Well, maybe someday it'll be 37 and then maybe 47. But we're happy to be here with you on this Friday evening.
We are so happy to see both the family who's here almost every week,
Yep.
and also, of course, some new names as well. We had some new names last week, which was fun.
Courtney's been on a raspberry kick lately.
I am maybe you'll have to come to the property since you're fairly local and come pick some berries in berry season.
They are pretty low sweetness.
They are.
Sometimes you get a sweet one, but usually they're just kind of berry-y.
Well, what's interesting is a couple of years ago, you're like, I think I taste, because we have pine in this property too. And you're like, I think I taste pine. And I think I can taste sort of that woody
Oh yeah,
as well now in the berry, which is interesting. It's good. It's in a good way.
Now, there are infinite different varieties of mushroom on this property, and I don't know which ones are safe to eat, but I'm a carnivore, so I'm not that interested anymore.
No.
But I know for a fact that there were some very desirable ones.
Yes.
Because when the house was being remodeled, the contractors guys all wanted them. And I was like, look, guys, I can't tell you it's okay to take them because if you poison yourself, I don't want any liability. And then one day they just vanished. So somebody ate them.
I think they were turkey tail, maybe.
Yes, or chicken
Oh, that might have been
of
it.
the woods.
Chicken
or
of the woods.
Something.
That's it. Yeah, I don't know.
They were excited.
Very.
And if you want a puffball,
well,
you
we
can
got
have any
plenty
of
those.
100 of them. We could also dine on possum almost every night because our dog seems to catch them daily. Sometimes he doesn't destroy them, but
Oh, most days he does.
it is impossible to get them away from him. All right.
Maybe that's what we need to name the property, is something about possum.
I don't love them. I mean, they
No.
eat ticks, right?
I guess.
So that's good because we have an abundance of ticks as well. Enchanted Carnivore says, I think your Carnivore short is one of the best. I have been tuning in the last several weeks. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't remember seeing your name pop up, but I like it because it's got kind of a mystical, magical quality to it, but it's got carnivore in it as well. So I feel like it's almost like a Disney carnivore name.
It is.
It's like a cruise ship, a Disney cruise. Welcome aboard the Enchanted Carnivore.
That is our type of ship.
Chan says, I'm going to get Dr. Hampton to put together a Midwest meetup so we can all hang out. That would be awesome.
Yes.
Would love it. Chanted says, I usually don't comment. And now you've commented 3 times. So that's great. But I love the idea of having a Midwest meetup.
Yeah.
If it happens while we're around, we'll be there.
Yeah.
What else do you have on your sheet?
Well, my final thing is just that I have hit week 4 of doing consistent resistance training. That when we went to Las Vegas for the COSI event,
Conference, yeah.
yeah, COSI conference, that was really the hugest message I got, was to really, I've heard it before, resistance training, blah, blah, blah. But I've had exercise intolerance in the past. So I'm a little leery of exercise still. Even though we're extremely active, I do a lot of biking in the summer. Like, I am all over this property. But the resistance training, I just keep trying to start and then I stop and start and stop. So this year I came home from COSI going, okay, I think this is the year I'm going to really try to stay consistent. Again, not perfect, but build up some consistency with that. So I've been doing Ben Bocchicchio, something like that. Ben Bo. I've been doing his routine. He was on a panel at COSI. And so I've been doing his exercise. I call it a routine, like it's a dance routine. What would it be? A program?
Sure.
I'm sure exercise routine is not.
Jazz hands.
But this is week 4 that I've completed it. So I'm really happy with that consistency. And that has been getting on it's a tonal system. And basically, he's got a prescribed set of exercises you do, and you can do them with resistance bands as well. But the point is to do very few reps at a higher weight very slowly. So I can't, it's hard for me to say what gains I've made because the machine kind of does it all for you. You don't have to sit there and look at, oh, I'm moving my pin down today, or I'm putting an extra plate on or anything. So I don't know the gains I've made, but my biggest gain is the consistency of this is 4th week done. So I'm going to keep at it.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she's pretty strong. We did some wood splitting
Yeah.
last week, not with an axe. We used the wood splitter because just efficiency. We needed to get it done. And she was picking up logs that were not light. And when I say not light, 25, 30 pounds, and hefting them up and putting them on the splitter without really struggling.
Yeah.
They were heavy, but they weren't any not even close to being out of your control.
No.
And so that was pretty good to see.
Yeah.
And she was operating the splitter. I was operating the chainsaw.
Well, and I do feel like that is a huge thing for me with Carnivore is that I have, again, it's the vitality. And so since we've had this property, I feel like I've been able to be much more active in general. And you've said I don't get winded on walks that I used to. And it's really been great. So now go again, almost 2.5 years in, I feel ready to move into this phase.
As a matter of fact, we talked about this when we were hiking there in outside of Las Vegas. When you were in your 20s and we would go someplace we had to go uphill, you would have to brace your hands on your hips to walk up the hill.
Yeah.
It was your technique.
Yep.
And it was just acknowledged that was how you did it.
Yep.
You don't need to do that anymore.
I don't. Yeah.
Here 30 years later.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
My exercise has been going pretty well too.
Yes.
And I've been doing a combination of specific weight sessions, but then also body weight exercise snacks across the day on some days. So I might do at 3 different times during the day. I might do some single leg squats with the back foot on the sofa. So it's called the Bulgarian split squat. I don't know what the Bulgarians did to us that we named that after them because it's a very cruel move. And then a set of push-ups and then some other stuff. And what I find is that takes me 2 or 3 minutes. And not only does it seem to like just kind of help with strength in general, but it just kind of zips my mind back awake. So if I get a little sleepy, sometimes I'll do that and it really helps. Today I did a 40-minute ruck with the 30-pound backpack, and then I did another 40-pound walk later in the day and felt great today.
Yeah.
Just felt really good. Running on fat and ketones. What's this about elderberry tree? Lady across the street who had a 300-year-old elderberry tree. She said, I don't even need to ask permission.
I've never
eaten an elderberry.
No. Uh-uh.
I have a few carnivore internet friends from around that area, Chicago, that would love to meet in person and perhaps would go. I'll see about going. It's a ways from Western Iowa, though.
Oh, Western Iowa. Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Shelby.
I wish I'd never seen carnivore ice cream. Why are carnivores coming up with those types of recipes? Because it starts when a YouTuber needs some content. And they know what'll get clicks. And then they are successful at creating a recipe, and then it spreads like a virus, and then we end up eating it going, why did I eat that? Golf addict. I was on strict carnivore for 6 months and did not feel great, lost some weight, but was in a depression. So I went strict ketovore the last 3 months and feel amazing. A1C is down to 5.4. Well, that's awesome.
Oh,
that's excellent.
Bio-individuality. And I love that you gave strict carnivore a good shot. You didn't just dip your toe in and, oh, it's not for me. You gave it a good shot and then you started tweaking. That's awesome.
And I'll say that there were times on Carnivore I did not feel as good as I thought I should.
Yes.
And it did require some investigation and some experimentation. But it is very individual. Simpson, I hate Bavarian split Scots. But it is good. Michelle Braid, I hate when I see protein recommendations and there is no red meat listed.
I just saw a Lily. This is just slightly related. I saw a Lily Kane video where she's moved back. She's getting stricter on her diet again, although she does eat fruit. So I think she's eliminating the veggies she's been eating, but she still does eat fruit. So she talked about how her goal right now, for the next 6 months at least, is to try to hit all her recommended daily allowances on Chronometer.
Okay.
So she's created the perfect diet that's going to help her hit all her nutrients. And I just have to say, and this is probably fine, 2,700 calories for her to hit all of her nutrients. And it's like she has to eat 4 ounces of pork and 20 ounces of ground beef a day, plus some other things. But, so yeah, it's just interesting what the recommendations are and how much chicken breast would you have to eat to hit those protein recommendations.
Yeah, it's hard with chicken.
Yeah.
Chicken is sort of like the rat of the carnivore menu. It's like, yeah, occasionally it's okay, but it doesn't even taste that good to me anymore.
It's so funny because it was such a huge part of our diet.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about chicken breasts, but in the last many years when we were doing lower carb and primal-ish, there was a lot of chicken every week. And so it's so funny when you were like, I don't want this anymore.
Well, when it's not breaded and deep fried in seed oil, it's not as good.
When we started Carnivore, we did still have chicken thighs it was in the rotation. And then, at one point you're like, I'm done. Okay.
But I get this sentiment of red meat is itself is an important part of carnivore.
Yes.
Like you can do carnivore without it, but it's tough. It's much tougher.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that you find anthropologists, archaeologists, they find these pre-agricultural humans and they're surrounded by the bones of large animals that they've been eating. They didn't kill the mastodon just for its pelt. And so this idea that, somehow we subsisted on scavenged or gathered carbs just doesn't make any logical sense at all. And it was ruminant meat. Ruminant.
Lots of ruminants.
Lots of ruminants. Turning grass into muscle for us.
When I learned about that as a carnivore or a carnivore curious person at that time, it just made so much sense to me that those types of animals would be able to basically do the processing of the carbs for us. It just
processing, concentrating all that nutrition.
Yeah.
Right down, getting rid of all the oxalates for us.
So they don't have to come out our forearms.
Yeah.
I hate it when that happens.
That's funny. I'll be thinking about that for days.
He will. He'll just start chuckling. I'll be like,
Oh, I think we're done.
I think so. My list is done.
What do you think, people? Should we sign off with the theme song, or should we just end it? Let's see what Simpson says here. I've been reverse dieting for so long and still can't get above 2,000 calories very often. I'm coming from being well below 1,000 calories when first starting tracking on Carnivore. Yeah. Eating enough can be a challenge when the satiety kicks in too soon.
Yeah. Actually, well, I'm not even going to say this part. No, but you've had issues with getting enough food.
I did. And I was just saying to you, the number one thing that makes beef taste good to me is being really hungry.
Yeah.
And I've been managing that pretty well through being active and just spacing my meals out to make sure that I'm good and hungry when I eat, and then it all tastes good. Yes, we're getting signals that we should play this song. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us again on this Friday.
Yes.
It means so much to us. We will be back Tuesday
Yes, we will.
with some sort of video. So every day stronger.
Every day more blessed.
JJ and Eric, their lipids are high. Their doctors are worried they're both gonna die. Is LDL harmless? They sure hope it's so. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show. Salad is toxic, seed oils are doom. They rub on tallow like greasy perfume. Ribeyes and bacon, that's all they know. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show. No wheat, no kale, they're laughing at greens. 18-hour fasts are their favorite routines. Sugars for suckers, they're chomping on fat. Streaming to you live from a tallow vat. Eric's got muscles, JJ's got zen. They're coming to chat with their carnivore friends. So toss out the lettuce, embrace the beef glow. It's the JJ and Eric